Detroit. What is up, Detroit Lions fans? Will back with another episode of Midnight Madness. I'm excited, man. Today, our veterans have reported to mini camp, and it's time to really start talking about some real football activities that are happening. I'm excited for that. I can almost taste the preseason and feel it. And yeah, just I don't even know what I'm doing with my hands, but I can just taste, feel, touch. All of the senses are in overload right now. That football is here, so I'm super excited for that. And today I'm just hopping on to talk about what my expectations are and what I can't wait to see coming out of training camp, because there are some things that are going on with this Detroit Lions team that I feel like are going to really answer some questions through this training camp. So I'll just get right into it. And one of the things that I'm super excited to see, and I feel like could play a really, really important role to what these Detroit Lions look like moving forward through the 2024 season, is what does Broderic Martin look like, man? Like, what does he look like on the field? Has he taken a huge step forward? We've seen pictures of him. It looks like he's done a body transformation similar to Aleem McNeil. Is it going to pan out like Aleem McNeil's panned out on the field? Because if it does, I'm super excited for what the Detroit Lions defensive line can look like. I was already excited about DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil and just the kind of wild card of Marcus Davenport. But if you're telling me we can add to that of Broderick Martin, you're telling me that there can be situations where Broderick Martin and DJ Reader can just be absolutely dominant up front. I mean, it will be, as we say, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers for if you're a running back trying to come to Detroit and trying to run that football, it's completely OVA. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Broderick Martin looks like year two with a preseason under his belt. Are we going to be looking at him in hoodies, or are we going to be looking at him on the field causing absolute havoc? So Broderick, we are wishing you absolutely nothing but the best here at Detroit Did 313, and I'm expecting you to do big things in year two. So next thing that I'm super excited for is it's kind of a popular one, JMO. JMO. I happened to catch Iffy Melifonwu on a football analytics podcast. Shout out to you guys. You guys do a great show. I happened to catch him on their show, and he was talking about JMO. And I always say, it's one thing for us to watch film and analyze guys. It's one thing for us to be at games or practices and analyze guys. But I think the biggest tell to me is the guys that are actually on the field, down in and down out, playing against these guys. Iffy Melifonwu was somebody that's seen JMO the whole time he's been with the Detroit Lions, and he said on the podcast that JMO has never looked faster. He just looks polished. He's making plays all over the field, short, medium, and long. He's making plays, and that just gets me even more excited than I already was. Dan Campbell said what he said. He said the most improved player coming back from the offseason was JMO. So I'm excited to see what he looks like through training camp. Do we keep that momentum going? And that's just going to get me more excited for what I think is about to happen in the 2024 season all the way up into February. And you know what happens in February. But that's it. Uh, Another one, James Houston, man. James Houston coming back healthy. I've given James Houston a little bit of a hard time. I think James Houston has tremendous potential, but the potential in comparison to what I hear people say, they talk about him like he's Micah Parsons or something sometimes. Like, I just think that we need to taper those expectations. But I am super interested to see, is he going to be able to pick up where he left off, causing pressure off of the edge, getting pressure on those quarterback, getting sacks? Like, what is he going to look like? Is he going to be somebody that can help this team from a defensive standpoint, rushing off of the edge? Will he be able to play some of that Sam linebacker that we talk about? And will he be able to contribute on special teams? Because I think that's a wild card for us, man. We got some dogs that could end up being on special teams. So if you're talking about those Malcolm Rodriguez's and Sione Vakis, and the list goes on, that Germ, CJ Moore, I mean, like we got absolute monsters that are going to be playing on our special teams. If he's another guy that can be out there, kind of a starting caliber guy that can be out on our special teams, I would be 100% excited for that. Another one, that green dot. That green dot. Just did a show about Alex Anzalone, and if you didn't see that, make sure you backtrack a couple days ago and check that one out. I think that was a good one. Just he's just somebody that I feel like is a bit underrated and underappreciated, but I'm not talking about him. When I talk about green dot, I'm talking about our Mike linebacker. I'm talking about the young dog and Jack Campbell. Uh, our DC man, Aaron Glenn, he said that Jack Campbell came back, and I quote, a grown man. So are we about to see some grown man play on that football field through training camp? Are we going to see him as a guy who takes that huge step forward and really steps into being that leader on this defense? I know Alex Anzalone is the leader of the defense. To me, he's that savvy veteran that's been around for a long time. But they've said Jack Campbell has been doing nothing but preparing in this offseason. Said he looks like he is just ready to go. So that's another guy that I'm looking forward to seeing, man, because that combination could be something that could be absolutely, it could be special. Another one. I got a bunch of them, guys. Bear with me. Jake Bates, man. Jake Bates. There was a lot of hype about him, going through the season when he was making those long field goals in the UFL. And now we a lot of us who are wishing for him to get a shot with the Detroit Lions again. He's here. And I'm looking forward to seeing if he can be consistent. Is he a guy that's going to make this team put down the money badger, man, and knock him out of here, make us forget about him? Or is he going to be able to do one of those big kicks, man, in a big moment for the Detroit Lions? Is he going to be a guy that can bring some consistency? Because he has some struggles. He made some big kicks, but he has some struggles as well. So hopefully he can settle that in. Dan Campbell can have a guy that he trusts, and we don't have to be going for it on these fourth downs anymore and just giving me heart attacks, because I don't know how much more of them I could take. I'm also hoping too with our offense and defense, maybe these games won't be close and the kicker won't matter, but it will be exciting to see that kicking battle going through camp and seeing if Jake Bates can win that job, because I think that he is going to be one of those kickers, man, that kind of will be special to Detroit if he does win the job, and guys will be cheering for him. So lastly, and the biggest one for me, right, going into this training camp, I'm looking forward to hearing the coaches. I'm looking forward to being at practice. I'm looking forward to watching Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker. I think that he is probably going to be one of the most watched Detroit Lions through training camp and preseason games. I'm looking forward to seeing what his grasp is on this offense. He had a full year last year, even though he wasn't on the field the whole time. He was taking mental reps. He was learning the offense. They said that he was dialed in. Everybody that talks about him has said that he's continuously getting better day in and day out. I'm looking forward to seeing him take some snaps, and it's going to kind of decipher my comfort level. I'm by no means looking to see him do so well that he's in a QB competition with Jared Goff. Jared Goff is our guy. When I say that I'm excited to see Hendon Hooker, I'm excited to see if I can really relax and say, hey, we got a backup that's going to be developing over the years. I feel real comfortable. I don't have to be on pins and needles hoping that Jared Goff is okay. We got somebody who's serviceable and with a lot of potential. Or we might have somebody who goes crazy through training camp and ends up being trade bait. But I'll save that for another show. But I think that's a thing, man. We got to look at this guy, because does Hendon Hooker really want to sit until he's 30 and sit behind a guy if he's doing well? I don't know if that's a thing or not. So there's definitely something to think about. But those are the things that I'm really looking throughout this training camp to see. Now, is there some other, Sione Vakis and, things that I want to see? There is, but those are the main things, because when I think about those things that I talked about, Broderic Martin, if Broderic Martin is a dog, him, DJ Reader, and Lee McNeil in that rotation, it's a problem. It's a problem. And we haven't even got into guys like Levi Onwuzurike and then, the Kaminsky, Pascal, who are kind of hybrid guys. Like, hey, that could be problematic if Broderic Martin coming in at 6'5", 330 pounds, and it would be next to DJ Reader. That's a lot of beef in that defensive line right in the middle. I don't know how you run the football, and then we're talking about having guys like Aiden Hutchinson on the edges. There's just no weak spots if you're talking about this Giants defense of Broderic Martin, because we're going to have fresh dogs period. If we can keep one of those guys fresh in the rotation, man, oh man, oh man, right? And like I said, the list goes on. Jack Campbell, without we're Alex Anzalone coming off the best season of his career. Jack Campbell takes a huge step forward. Problems. We got this revamp secondary. Am I interested to see that? I am, but I feel like when we talk about Carlton Davis, we know what he's gonna be, right? We know what he's gonna be. We're talking about Amik. I know what he's gonna be, right? So it almost gives a little leeway to our young guys, Ennis Rakestraw and Terry and Arnold, because if they don't perform right away like we had hoped, it's not really going to be a pressing issue because we got guys that can play those spots. Brian Branch can come in and play some nickel situations, right? So we have depth in the secondary. We don't need to rush our young guys. So those are the things to me that I'm really excited to see throughout camp. I think that if we see one, two, or all of those things go like we hope, then man, oh man, oh man, that we're going to see the Detroit Lions be even better than I thought that they would be. So I want to hear what you guys think. Put it in the comments. What are the main things that you're looking for throughout this training camp and preseason? What's the most important to you? What are you excited to see? And who's your favorite player that you're going to be watching throughout training camp? Mine is probably Hendon Hooker, because I'm really thrilled to see him throw that football around finally after not being able to do it all year. And after that, it'll probably be Sione Vaki. I want to see what he does. But leave it in the comments, guys. Who's the player that you're watching? What do you want to see throughout training camp? And I'll be back with another episode. Peace.